I think it starts like a good book. And the one I always think of is The Dark Tower by Stephen King. It's the Gunslinger series. Or maybe it's the Gunslinger series and the Dark Tower. No, I think it's the Dark Tower series and Gunslinger is the first book. But the first sentence really captures you. I believe it is the gunslinger chased the man in black across the desert. Just something simple like that. And that, remember the first time, and every time that I come across the book, I'll always flip it open and I'll read that first sentence, and I just love that. And that's just a great book. And the whole series is, I don't remember all of them. Past, obviously, the first one definitely made a huge impression. And so I just got on a kick, and me and my buddy Cankles, we both read them relatively in the same time. Either he had read it first and then mentioned it to me, and then I came across the book when I was living with a couple of white trash dudes at one time, and I read that first one, and it was fantastic. So we chased down the other six. I think I bought them all. I think I still have six of the seven, and I would pass them off to my buddy Kanks, and we both just a good mix of sci-fi and western, and I don't know, they were just good. They were just good books, and that was one of the spells where I was reading a lot, and I think it just takes like a good book or a good anything to really get you passionate about stuff. And yeah, those if you're looking for a good series, you're into sci-fi, western, action, or just mind trickery. Excuse me. I recommend Stephen King's The Gunslinger series. Really, really good. And that character, Roland, man, what a character. Don't watch the movie though. They changed so many things, and I think just like any other good book, it's really difficult to turn a great book into a great movie. And it's just too much story in 7 books. I think just like what is it, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, which I haven't read any of those books. I think I've started, but they're so no. I read The Hobbit, but the Lord of the Rings ones, they're so long and they're so. I hear they're great, but I like the movies so much. I don't want to go back now and ruin the movies with the books. But I'm sure, and I heard they left out a lot of stuff in the Dark Tower or Lord of the Rings movies that was in the books. But yeah, everybody's gonna be their own worst or best critic about stuff. So, Dark Tower books, awesome. The Gunslinger is the first one. The second one is something to do with doors. The third one is The Wasteland, which is probably my second favorite one, as it's just a long ride on a train through the wastelands and like a ton of flashbacks. If you're not into flashbacks, don't watch the movie Inception and do not read the third book, The Wasteland by Stephen King. But if you do, join right in. And plus, I think The Wasteland is just one of the coolest and types of situations that just piques my interest so much. Maybe it's because my relatives and my dad grew up in the desert, and the desert is associated with, I don't know, just less than or a wasteland situation. But any books or movies that have to deal with like post apocalyptic or just surviving out in the middle of nowhere or where there's just little to do is, I don't know, interests me. I always loved that movie, The Postman, with um, Kevin Costner. We got the same birthday. I didn't figure out that two people could have the same birthday but be born on different years until I was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7. Just one of those things that doesn't click, or like when you sing songs and you think you have the right lyrics for forever, then you find out it wasn't. And if you had just researched and watched it on or read the lyrics, it would have made more sense. But I always thought Postman was a great movie. I know it's like 18 hours long, but it's in the future. Society's broken down, and Kevin Costner takes on being the guy that keeps letters going around, and the evil dude with the number 8, and the I don't know. I just thought it was cool. I think man surviving past technology and easy times interests me a lot. Excuse me. Why? Just I don't know. It looks like a cool survival situation, something that I mean possibly could happen again. I don't know if you believe in the people that say you can pull one button and reset the entire world back to the technology that we didn't have before. But I think that's just I think I'm just referencing another movie, the old Justin Long in one of the Live Free or Die Hards or one of those movies. Like you could just press a button and you can just eliminate 100 years of technology and take us back to a horse and buggy, something like that. But yeah, Wasteland, Book of Eli, where um, the guy from American Gangster, Denzel's blind and he's got shotguns and he's just cruising through the wasteland as a blind guy trying to deal with his own demons while kicking ass and taking care of himself. Also a really good movie like that. So the wastelands, um, good 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 premise. I always liked. um, the wasteland was not available when I tried to choose a email address to associate with the podcast and with the channel, but this one did come up. A podcast hug. Um, I'm a hug, and there are other hugs around. Initially, they came over from Ulm, Germany, which I was told is the same city that Albert Einstein was born in. Um, I'm not saying I'm any way remotely as smart or intelligent or as hardworking as that guy, but we do have similar hair at times. So, um, yeah, just a little fact I like to toot at people when they do ask my origins. So German from Ulm, and I hit them with the Einstein, and that at least usually can garner the smallest just, so I'll take that. But the hair, going on 2 years, it hasn't been cut, and it is quite the hassle. It's all over the place. It's coming out all the time, but it's just something that I don't mind. I like it, and it's different, and I don't know when I'm gonna go bald or if I'll ever go bald, but at least I can say I know what it's like to have it super long. And it's if you're gonna put it up in some sort of man bun, ponytail or whatnot, it's not that bad. It's just eh, it's just long, and I think honestly sometimes it has to do with the fact that I never had control over when my haircut was gonna be. Just like why would you when you're a little kid? Your parents take care of that stuff for you. But more of I think it's different. I like to be different, and maybe that's just trying to set yourself apart from the people you hang around with, or your family members, or also yeah, my brother used to have really cool long hair. I thought it was really just it looked different, and it was super like froey and curly. And when he wasn't a super hardworking businessman, and which was basically everything before high school ended, he surfed a lot, and he just let it go, and it was the look. He looked like a surfer. It was brown, but then it got like sun bleach. But obviously, you go and surf 6 hours a day, your hair's gonna get that color. And I was just like, I guess I was just jealous, and then I wanted to see what mine would do long. And yeah, over the years, just been letting it go. And honestly, I don't really care much for styling my hair, or doing my hair, or figuring out what looks best. I've always enjoyed just letting it go and then having some sort of controlled chaos to an extent. Obviously, when I started working in different careers, the hair couldn't be too super gnarly, but now that I work for the family, it's it's one little fringe benefit that I can hold on to and not feel super pressured to deal with. I can just let it go. I can just be myself, which I feel like this is how I'm comfortable. Obviously, it's not too big of a deal that I don't cut it because I'm not afraid of being outside and people making fun of me for it, which happens behind my back. There's no way it doesn't, but obviously not enough for me to feel super self conscious and get rid of it. Yeah, February 24th, I think, was when it was 2 years, and I feel like it's really stopped growing. I feel like I'm pulling out more hair than it's growing. I mean, could be stress. It could just be it's getting in knots or whatnot. Hey, but yeah, there's a certain degree of stress I think in everyone's life, no matter if you're married and have kids or you don't. Um, I do. I have two little girls, and I have another little girl on the way, and a wife, and that's three more people than uh, and another one. So it'll be four more people than I had ever been so close with or had to help take care of before. So that's one thing that's um, you're not prepared for when you do have kids. You see how it is from a non-kid having perspective, but once you have them and they're yours and they're your responsibility, it's is beautiful and it's time consuming and it's difficult and it's just the best part of your life also, but it's not without its challenges. And so I think yeah, that could be a stress, but I think stress is healthy. It's healthy to be stressed out because that means you've got something that's important enough and garnering your attention a lot of the time. You be stressed out from work, that garners a lot of attention. Stressed out from your passion, which garners a lot of attention. Stressed out from your family, that just you garners a lot of attention, and it's got to get keeps morph need to keep getting it morphed and worked on until it fits just right, and then the stress won't feel like stress anymore. And perhaps that is part of the solution. Is you need to just keep reconfiguring this Rubik's Cube of life until it feels like there is no stress anymore each day, but it's just all work for your passion and for the loves of the things in your life, which hopefully are people and the things that make you happy, which would be people also. So, but I don't have any gray hairs. It's just long right now, but it feels like it hasn't been growing anymore. I feel like it's just every time I run my hand through my hair, I'm pulling out clumps, and maybe I'm just giving myself a haircut every day. Who knows? Um, but it's on my shoulders. It's kind of curly. One of these days it'll get buzzed again. When it does go, it's just gonna get buzzed. I think since I moved back to town in '08, at the end of '08, and I think I might have gotten one haircut where I went to like Fantastic Sam's or something like that, but wasn't impressed. Felt too corporate, shillish, $17 for nothing, and I've just been buzzing it at my home ever since. I buzzed it one time, missed a big patch of it on top of my head, and it looked ridiculous. And at least I went to a volleyball tournament and had my buddies find out for me. So it looked ridiculous one time for about 12 hours. But other than that, I've had my folks or my wife help me buzz it. There was a time where I buzzed it and I just let it stay. I let it grow out, then I just kind of shaved the sides and did that overproduced Macklemore hairdo for a little while. That probably looked quite interesting more than any time, but yeah, I think the last 3 4 years I've just been letting it grow out and buzz grow, buzz grow, buzz grow, and that's it. I don't spend too much time worrying about it. Um, I don't spend too much time worrying about my clothes either. I can't remember the last time I actually bought any clothes. I rented a suit for my wedding, and it felt too big. I put the pants on and they felt too big. They felt a little oversized, and my jacket didn't feel like it fit quite well. But at the same time, I didn't take a ton of time to figure it out. Just like a lot of times, I waited till the last minute. Went to, what was it, Gentleman's Warehouse, tried something on. What do you know? The first thing I tried on, I said it fit. And then the day of my wedding, when I'm putting it on, I'm like, I wish the pants were a little bit skinnier and less baggy. And but it is what it is. I didn't take the time to care about that at the moment. Maybe we don't realize as humans when we're supposed to be taking the time to care about important things, even if we don't feel like they're important to ourselves at the time. But I always remember that. Any pictures I usually see of myself at my wedding, if I'm standing up or side profile, I thought my pants looked too baggy, and but not baggy enough to notice when I was trying them on for all of 6 minutes at the Gentleman's Warehouse. But I think Skylar was with me that day, and I was distracted and just trying to get us out of there. So, but wedding's not really for you, right? It's for the misses. It's for the women. It's for the wifey. So, and she looked beautiful that day, and she always um, gives me crap for not crying as she walked down the aisle, and I had imagined I would because I cry a lot. I'm pretty sensitive and emotional. I guess I always have been. I've always cried a lot. Um, but it was such a big day. There were so many people there. It was a big production. I think I was more nervous standing at the altar and wanting it to all happen and be over with, just because I'm not a person that really enjoys having the attention all focused on them for very long. That I think I was too in my head and too nervous, and I didn't take the time to enjoy the place on earth just with my wife coming down the aisle. And she really did look beautiful and tan and white teeth, and the dress looked awesome. But I just regret that. I just I guess all the attention was too much, and I should be thinking no one was looking at me anyways. They're all looking at her, and again, the wedding's for the women. So it just goes to show how selfish and egotistical people can be. Um, the world is so big, but we live inside our own skin and our own brain every day, and yet we're still just the main character in our own movie, and we think that the entire world is looking and paying attention to us all the time. In reality, most likely not, because everyone's too busy being preoccupied being the own main character in their own movie and worrying about them own selves. I gotta come up with some sort of phrase or quote or something or a symbol I can have that'll just remind me of that everybody is not looking at you, and that you don't need to be so concerned with what other people think or are thinking, because life's too short to worry about what other people are doing. And I think I'm really trying to make a connection with myself more in the last few years. I believe as my kids have come along that life is fleeting, and that I'm not going to be around forever, and we're all not going to be around forever, and that we need to cherish the one life we have and do what's going to make us happy each day. And I think it's been it's been a struggle to figure that out at times for me personally, because life gets busy. And ever since 2015, when our first daughter was born, it's that's a dedicated um, person every day that needs you to focus on them. And so um, it's always not the right time to worry or think about yourself when someone else needs you for survival. And so it sounds like I'm just making an excuse, and I am, but I think a real introspective person would be able to realize that, but also take the time to utilize the time each day they have for themselves, and keep trying to figure out and interpret what their passion is in this world, which we have just one shot at. And each day sounds like you can reinvent or rethink or continue on a path of passion that's going to make each day fun for you and fun for the people around you, and just dilute that stress into things that are making everybody's day just fun, I guess. I think thinking takes time. I think it's got to be quiet, or it's got to be the environment or the atmosphere. And once you have kids, you find out that the times where it becomes quiet, or the times that you're alone, or the times that might be ideal for thinking, they become less and less. And and I would even say I'm a person that is very quiet and an introvert, and that I don't have a lot to say, but I feel like my mind is thinking at all times. And it's usually why I'm listening to podcasts, or watching podcasts or movies, or listening to music, is that I need some sort of other thing going on in my head that's, I don't want to say distracting me, but keeping me focused on one thing, until I've got time to really look at myself in the mirror. And I don't think that comes every single day. Sometimes you wake up, you exercise, you eat, you feed the kids, go to work, get them to their spot, pick them up, come back, put them to bed, and you've got no time to get quiet for yourself, because you're tired. Or are we tired? I don't know. And sleep is so important. I'm realizing that now, as the last 3 weeks I've not been able to sleep in a super consistent way, because I gotta sit in this chair with my arm propped up, and I'm not completely laying flat, but I can't like lay on my side, and my hand is just not. My hand's got to be in a appropriate position that is difficult to get 6, 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. I think I might have gotten 6 or 7, but it's broken up. Waking up every 2 or 3 hours to readjust and get my hands sitting right, or go to the restroom. So, and I haven't slept in a bed since like 3.5 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to getting that back and getting back to exercising again. But good things that came out of this definitely was, it's given me plenty of time to think, and I've had at least 1 or 2 days the last 3 weeks where I've gotten to just sit and reflect and be alone, and have that time to think about, my 37 years and all the accomplishments and regrets, and just things that are going on in this life. And From outside perspective, I'm sure most people would say that I've got a great situation, and I do, and I've got to keep reminding myself of that. But I don't believe in the people that say they don't have any regrets. They live every day to the fullest. They don't regret anything. I think if you, as far back as you can remember, to being a little kid, there's got to be times where you regret what you did or what you didn't do, and regrets I think are just part of life. I think people want to aspire to live a life with as little regrets as possible, and to, as they get older, learn how to not regret things and say what they mean and say it in a polite way, and so that they won't regret stuff. But of course we all have regrets, and it's, I think that's just another part of life. But 37 years, when I reflect on all that I've got and what I've done, pretty happy. I just wish, you know, I can keep on this train of um, self identification and vocalizing a little bit more about what um, my life is about, and what it's for, and that being a parent is so difficult and so rewarding and so fun and so stressful, and it's a ton of hard work. But there's just so many times during the day that are only a couple seconds long, but you see your daughters or your sons smile or figure out how to click their seatbelt in, or put their shoes on, or make someone laugh, or shrug their shoulders, that it's just so, it's so precious. And you know what the term beaming means, where you're just staring at your child so proud, and you love them so much that it's all worth it. And I always knew that I was going to be a parent. I always knew that I wanted kids. I remember talking with my mom when we went to Rudy's Mexican restaurant when I was 23, and I'm not sure how it came up, but I told her I was upset because I didn't like have a serious girlfriend, and I wasn't quite married yet, and I felt like I was falling behind in life because I wasn't married and wasn't having kids yet at 23. And thinking back now, that would have been a huge pill to swallow, to have just been out of college and just start doing the parenting and work thing at all at once back then. Um, I feel like I've always done stuff a little bit later. I've just takes me a little bit longer to get comfortable with things, and I see a lot of that in my oldest daughter too. Is that she just needs a little extra time to understand, figure out, and get better at, to master things. But um, me being 31 when I had her was, it was a lot better. I had some money. I had some sort of understanding of myself. I had I had some things that I was passionate about, and it was the right time for me, and um, that, I think, just wanting to be a cool younger parent. Maybe that was the only thing that I thought. To have kids in your 20s, then you could be that cool younger parent, and then you're in your 40s and they're already 18, and then you guys are going to concerts together, and you're going to the skate park together with them, or playing volleyball with them at the beach. But that's a silly way to look at life, is that you want to just do things because you think it would be a cool perspective for other people. Doesn't really matter, because everybody thinks I'm a lot younger than I am. It's probably because I'm pretty immature personality wise. I think I joke around with people that I tapped out at 21 or 22, but not a joke. Politics and bureaucracy and governors, mayors, laws, and colors of tears and whatnot. You really got to wave that under my nose more than a few times for me to actually catch the scent and actually understand and care about. I'm just, I thought maybe once my kids came along, I'd be more concerned about the school site council meetings and whatnot, but not so much. That stuff, for whatever reason, politics and serious, I call it grown up stuff, just doesn't interest me at all, and I regret that a little bit because I can't wax intellectual about 401ks and 504Bs or whatever with my older friends, but it's just not hitting my neurons the right way. People be talking about the political race and who's winning and the bills they're passing, this and that. It's um, I wander, my eyes go off of the page into La La Land, and I just start thinking about mm, other stuff. Um, but I don't remember my folks talking about politics too much growing up, perhaps because they're kind of on different sides. But I mean, opposites attract, right? So that's good. It's good to have two different opinions in the household. But I just don't remember hearing about it much, or perhaps I did hear about it a lot when I was younger, and it was just not hitting my neurons at all, and so I was off thinking about soccer, or skateboarding, or girls or something. I don't know, but yeah, I not sure where I'm at now. But uh, this this hand situation, it's quieted my mind quite a bit, and just getting my thoughts out there hasn't seemed as difficult lately, and just taking a risk and getting some content out there hasn't seemed as scary lately, and putting the camera on yourself and sharing yourself with yourself to the world hasn't seemed as scary lately. So I pressed the red button, took the red pill, and see what happens. But those kids, man, so funny, and just driving me up the wall half the time too. But I mean, I just dropped my daughter off for her first day of kindergarten in person on Monday, and yesterday and today, and just watching her, I don't want to say prance, but just kind of not saunter, but she was wearing rain boots today. Just, I don't know, clop away, and with her little Moana backpack on wheels to her kindergarten classroom. Just I'm so excited for her, and I remember school, and I always have, with super fond memories. I've always enjoyed school, always enjoyed elementary. Junior high was really cool too. Junior high was, I think, the toughest one to wrap your head around. I loved high school, loved college, and when I came back to town, and then I was worked at school every year up until the last 2 years, full time. Loved like 99% of those times too, and I still, coaching still keeps me at school also. But I always just had such a positive perspective on school. I always thought it was fun being around so many different people, meeting and making friends. Okay, there's always a new girl that came along that you would be crushing on, or be in like with, or just have the guts to talk to, or not talk to most of the time. But and I never found school hard. I got the memo. Your teacher gives you the assignment. They tell you what they expect. If you have any questions, you ask them. You just gotta do it on time. And I figured if you spend a lot more time doing it, it's gonna be better. But I mean, good portion of the time I'd wait till the end, the old procrastination situation, and still get it out. And you know go figure, I got good grades in high school because I just showed up almost all the time, did almost all the assignments, and got almost A's on all of them. I don't think because I'm intelligent, just because I worked hard. And I don't feel like it was that hard, but just I followed the guidelines and got everything turned in on time. And I never found that too difficult. I never struggled with that too much. But again, I don't think I have a diagnosed learning disability. And I've seen people that do, and it's not just a difficult thing that is around for school, but it's around for life. And so it's just something that they figure out strategies how to deal with, or they don't. But for the people that don't have any type of excuse or diagnosed learning disability, or a diagnosed just situation at home that's preventing them from excelling in school, I really don't think there's that many um, roadblocks if you can listen. And also, well, I take that back. There's a ton of roadblocks in a ton of different ways. But I always found that taking notes, which I really started to do in college, was super important. You got to listen and try and write down as much as you can. You got to regurgitate the information you're listening to onto a piece of paper, and then you got to you got to look at that stuff later on if it's important enough. So, um, but yeah, I always loved school, even when it was hard and stressful. It was a great, it's just a great time. And I mean, that's where you're gonna figure out kind of what your strengths and weaknesses are as a person. Is the tasks that people ask you to do, and how you're gonna handle them, especially when they're tasks that you don't want to do. Um, but always loved school, and I think I'll always have some sort of tie to it. And I think that might have been why I was so excited for my for my girl to go to kindergarten, to actually go to have a place that was now part of her. I mean, it's great that we were doing a class on computer and whatnot, but it's just not the same thing. And she just loves people too. So it has been great taking her and picking her up the last few days, and just seeing the joy that it's been bringing her. And I couldn't be happier that slowly but surely we're getting out of all this. And slowly but surely we might be playing some games again too. So I think with all the wind and the nature outside, it's moving these trees in such a beautiful way. I think I really want to take the girls camping here pretty soon. And just once this hand gets better, continue that push to keep them out of the house. We were doing a lot of going to the park and playing on playgrounds and playing outside. And as I record this on a small rectangle, um, is great to remember to catch your thoughts and your feelings and how you're feeling on a day. But also, this shouldn't be part of a young kid's life until it's, I don't know, more necessary. I'd like to not have her be attached to screens, and that's going to take more and more effort on my part, especially um, if they don't see us on it, glued to it 24/7. They won't want to do that, and that's a struggle. And I'm going to try and wean myself off little by little. And if I am playing with it or using it, maybe it would be suited better for stuff like this. Just getting our thoughts out, and getting something out that makes me feel better. about the day, more productive about the day. And like I said earlier, I haven't been feeling as um, cautious lately about putting myself out there um, on the rectangle. It's odd because I've been mostly mostly home the last 3.5 weeks, and but I've been also deeper inside my own thought the last 3 weeks because I've been forced to. I've not been out doing the things that were taking up all that real estate in my mind. So uh, my my finger totally jacked up. It's getting better. We get this cast off on Monday and start moving it around. But I mean, it was a terrible accident, and I'm not glad it happened. But there was, I'm thinking about it, some good that came out of it. It gave me more time with myself just to reevaluate and get back to thinking about myself sometime. And I hadn't been doing that as much. I think I was just going, and I was not taking enough time to think, not taking enough time to remember that I've only got one life, and that I've got to remember that it's not selfish to be pursuing your own passion each day, and it's not selfish to want to enjoy what you do each day. And also, now I think about it, it's never too late to change paths. Um, it's important though to keep everybody, um, safe, and keep your life going financially, but it doesn't mean you can't make a change. You're just gonna have to think a little bit harder and spend less time on the rectangle. That's really it. Remanage your time, and another thing I'll say about school, and really what you're going to learn most of all in college if you go, is that a big portion of it is you're going to figure out how to manage your time. You're going to figure out that mommy and daddy are not making your lunch. They're not taking you here. They're not taking you there. They're not reminding you to do things once you start driving, but you're going to be out there on an island without that support, and now these all these tasks are in front of you, and you're gonna have to manage your time and get there and figure it out. And yeah, you're gonna skip classes, or you're gonna go, and you're gonna figure out that you shouldn't have skipped that class, or that you could get by without doing that. You're gonna do the reading, or you're not gonna do the reading, and you're gonna figure out that you don't have the right type of shoes to be out in the rain with, and then you're gonna have to figure out how to purchase those shoes, stuff like that. But I mean, another great part about school and college especially is that you have to um, got to figure out how to manage your time. And it's never anything you think about until you get older. So, um, yeah, let's get them out of this house. Let's get them camping. I'm thinking the first time, since we have this ginormous tent, just going to a local place, do a one night, come back. And I think that's going to be a big step for me too. But it'll be fun. I I'll enjoy it. I always enjoyed going camping too, but it's pretty fun when you're not the one organizing it all the time. I'm realizing that. I'm realizing if you want to do cool stuff, you want to get people, your kids involved in stuff, you gotta make that move for them. And hey, they're gonna learn how to do things like this on their own, and then they'll be able to take their kids or their friends camping later. And how great are you gonna feel about that? Probably great and nervous at the same time. But anyways, uh, thank you. A Hug podcast, and I'm a hug.